7:30 on Tuesday, June 25th, 2019. If everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk Gillette.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Clerk Gillette, can you take the roll?
Assessor Wyman Cry. Here. Highway Commissioner Kuzmierczak. Here. Clerk Giuliana is here. Supervisor Moran.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee McKenzie.
Here.
Trustee Carabota.
Here.
Trustee Sweet.
Here. Okay, first order of business. I'm going to request a motion for approval of the minutes of the May 28, 2019 bill payment.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 28, 2023.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Gillette, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee Sweet.
Yes. Thank you. Ask for a motion for approval of the minutes of May 28, 2019 Town Fund and General Assistance Budget Hearing.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 28, 2019 Town Fund and General Assistance Budget Hearing.
Second.
I'm going to make a motion to amend the motion to approve the General Town Fund to accept bill number 56929 and ask to lay that on the table, a portion of $1,887. It's a portion of a bill to Mary Dixon and the firm of Dixon and Conway. And I had some questions about some entries that I'm just waiting to hear back from Mary with further information.
Is this on the budget? It's about the...
Yeah, it was, I was amending, asking to amend.
Okay. To approve the minutes?
No, Bill. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong page.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I was going to vote after something. There was a motion.
It was seconded? Okay, so is there any discussion on that?
Yes, I guess.
On the minutes? Okay. Clarify, I don't know who raised that hand first. Trustee Sweet.
On page 2,
Sure.
after discussion, pass down the amended change and request. After the vote, I would like to add, because we had a change, after the vote was taken, Assessor Moreland Pride brought to our attention that our budget factored a 2% increase, not a 3% in salaries, and Supervisor Moraski noted that there was no increase in the OEM department. Dana Berman offered to make the appropriate adjustments and present a revised draft for us to approve prior to budget submissions.
Second.
I'm sorry, Trustee Sweeney, I just have a question. Was this all said at the meeting?
Yes, because we talked about a $57,000 reduction in salaries, and we changed it.
But that this was after, right?
Yeah.
So the numbers were all changed after.
No, this was set at that meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
You sure? You watched my turn?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any problem. Anybody else?
No, that's it.
Trustee McKenzie.
So on page 1,
Okay.
on the, close to the bottom, it says, well, it starts with trustee Carabota commented on township employees' contribution for health insurance and gave some examples for that. Then it says, there were many other comments from the trustees and Supervisor Marask on this issue, as well as on withholding the raises for this year for employees, and it goes on to say Supervisor Marask strongly recommended not to withhold raises, but to decrease the percentage of said raises. I don't remember anybody saying that they wanted to withhold raises. I know certainly you and
I think maybe we should just say line item. Would line item more accurately reflect it? Because I know there was a big discussion about the line item.
but it was just to decrease that
take
line
that.
item. Correct, but it was not to withhold raises. I think
Right, it was the line item.
misleading because it makes it sound like, at least from the way I read it, withholding raises was not the issue. It was the fact that the number was just arbitrary 3% versus looking at an analysis of the actual line item.
So I think Trustee Sweeney had some argument about the actual line item. I I think you had some discussion about, that you, along the lines of what you said. I changed it to 2.5% to keep in, you and I had a colloquy about could we just leave it in there instead of having to amend it later. So I think maybe, would it be sufficient if we called it the line item
But on the last
instead of
page-
raises? Change the line, I mean, because it was a discussion
Right,
on
because
taking
even on
away
the
the line item.
If you read the last page, it goes into what Susan Sweeney said.
Yeah.
I did it on the first page.
I know, but it's all part of the same minutes, and there was just one discussion.
How do you want to say it?
Susan Sweeney made a long comment about how she didn't think that they should get raises because the benefits were so good. And then she went through the deduct the amount factored in for salary increases at 3%. So, I mean, those two things coincide. That statement that she wrote in the back and the whole page pretty much supports the fact that there were many other comments from the trustees and supervisor Brass on this issue, as well as withholding raises for the year, for this year for employees, which is supported by this last page, where Susan Sweeney says it.
So, to answer your question, Supervisor Brass, I think it should say withholding raises or not withholding raises. I think it should say that there was a discussion about the budget increase for a set amount or percentage increase with no analysis of the amount saved in salaries from positions that were either terminated or, as you mentioned, compressed.
Right. So do you want to put that as Trustee McKenzie said that?
Well, there was no discussion about withholding raises.
What does this mean then? Deduct the amount factored in for salary increases of 3%. Isn't that withholding a raise? What is that then? If you're deducting the amount factored in for
Okay,
salary.
hang on.
It's just not budgeted.
Guys, let's not talk to each other. I understand. Trustee Jones.
Trustee Jones, microphone, please.
Right. So what's your question of Trustee McKenzie's amendment?
Okay, I'm saying, on the last page, there's a whole page about saying deduct the amount factored in for salary increases for 3%. The amount of salary increases in all departments is $57,233, calculating 3% of the total of salaries presented in the budget for review on May 28th, which is the same as withholding a raise.
I don't agree. It does not mean the same. It's just not budgeted in that manner. There was no discussion or no one that I know of agreed that we wanted to withhold raises. It is the opposite. We wanted to assess raises separately and not
You
just
did.
have.
I did.
You did, but that's not what it said.
I
It
know,
says,
sorry, I shouldn't-
how
I
can
know
we?
you didn't want to withhold raises and you didn't want to withhold raises, so you're talking about what the rest of us said.
Well, but
No, it
this says
just
here,
says.
how can we
I think
reduce the
should-
budget if we elect to keep the grandfather plan in order to be closer to flat over last year's expenditures? The grandfather plan is included in these numbers and is over $93,000 increase, and there is no provision to be able to have the employees share some of the burden of that rich plan. See plan below. So, one answer is to this is to hold the raises for this year. The raises have been factored into the plan as a placeholder of 3%. Though the salary study recommended the increase in salaries, we have yet to determine exactly what that means for each of the underpaid positions per market study. Deduct the amount factored in for salary increases of 3%. The amount of salary increases in all the departments is $57,233, calculating 3% of the total of the salaries presented in the budget for review on May 28th. And then it goes on to say the categories as follows: administration, $639,558, assessor, $196,228, clerk, $137,000, OEM, $6,000, mainstay, $356,000, senior and adult, $282,000, and GA, $291,000. And then it goes through the total. Total $1,907,786 times 133, and then subtract that, which equals 262,214. To me, it's pretty clear that there was a discussion about withholding raises.
So in the interest of economy here, trustee McKenzie, what if it literally, we just summarize it to say, there were many other comments from the trustees and Supervisor Morass on this issue, as well as the line item for the salary raises. Is that okay? And then, and by me strongly recommending not to withhold the line item. Is that good? The next sentence?
No, it was just to decrease the line item. It's not to withhold anything.
Well, it was decreasing it to
Decrease,
zero.
decrease.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
decrease,
decreased it
not
to zero.
withhold.
Well, okay, decrease is fine with me. But to, yeah. Oh, I see.
And then, second line from the bottom, amendment to decrease budgeted salary increases from 3% to 2.5%.
Amendment
Decrease budgeted, yeah.
Or line item, because you don't establish salary increases in the budget time.
It was the line item. That would be account for 3% salary increases, or now 2.5. So, amendment to
Line item.
decrease line item for salary increases. I made the motion, so. Okay.
That's it for me.
All right. So now with those changes, any further? Anybody else going once, going twice? What is your last?
We need to amend the motion to adopt that.
Can we amend the original motion to adopt those changes? Who made the-
My changes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Who made the original
I
motion?
did.
Okay.
That's because voted in.
No, that's because
I'm sorry.
the original Justice Lee amended once
Forget me, I,
and not,
And then Claire amended after that.
yeah, but who's making the motion?
who made the original motion to approve the minutes?
Trustee
And-
Kubota.
Trustee Kubota, and who seconded it?
Trustee Jones.
Okay, so you guys both amend your original
I'll make the,
motions to incorporate those inclusions, correct?
Yeah, we,
Okay,
a
great.
motion to approve the minutes of May 28, 2019 Town Fund and General Assistance Budget Hearing with the amendments as set forth by Trustee Sweeney and Trustee McKenzie and as agreed upon by the board.
Okay, and then Trustee Jones, you second that?
Yes.
Okay. Clerk Jalamis, can you call that roll?
Supervisor Morass?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Can I get clarification on the final meeting that you had referenced? Supervisor Morass, on the first line, there were many comments from trustees and Supervisor Morass on this issue, as well as the line items pertaining to raises? Is that what you're?
I'm sorry, can
I want to know what the amended
The
change.
line item for the employee salary increases, so.
The line item for the
Right.
employee salary increases?
Correct. Nisha, is there a way to turn the fan on? For me to turn it on?
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Oh, is he going there?
Okay.
Yes.
My vote's yes.
Okay, great. Now, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 28, 2019 Road District budget hearing?
Motion to approve May 28th, 2019 Road District minutes.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any adjustment, change? Trustee
Yes.
McKenzie?
Towards the bottom where it says Trustee McKenzie stated that she appreciates the engineering study, and I think it should say on the second line, suggested reducing the $400,000, I think it should say capital fund budget, to $150,000. in the road improvement fund for the fiscal year based on the engineering study data provided.
I'm sorry, where are you? I thought it says that, doesn't it?
I'm asking to insert after the $400,000 number,
Okay.
the words capital fund
Oh.
budget.
Got it.
And then at the end of the sentence, to add, based on the engineering study data provided.
Wally, is it called a capital fund budget or a road district?
Well, maybe
Is it
Carrie
that?
Lynn can, I think when this was brought up last year, I couldn't call it a capital fund, I had to call it something else, like a
Remember
road
this.
improvement fund. Is that true, or?
Well, but I don't know what you were talking about at that point. So,
That additional 400,000 at that last year, yes, this year it's a 150,000.
so it was a capital fund line, right?
It's his version of a capital fund.
So what, probably was in a separate budget, so what,
It's actually under the permanent road district fund, correct, Dawn?
all right, so how about we reducing the 400,000, it was for the capital fund line item, right?
Yeah. But is it called capital, our
Road
question is.
improvement fund
That
is
is
how it was listed on our budget.
Yeah, it's listed on our budget as road improvement.
Okay, but the discussion at the time, was it about reducing the fund? Or
Yes.
was it about reducing that line
Well,
item?
it was incorporated in the proposed
Yeah,
budget,
correct.
and initially it was 400,000, but it was reduced to 150.
Which she was okay with, everybody's good, it just.
It established a new fund.
Correct.
Carrie Lynn. So, I think it's a capital fund, but maybe the road district has a different name for it. But it
Yeah,
is a
that's what the-
new
yeah.
fund. It's not just a line item, it's.
Yeah, no, it's funding, he did have that line item, but you're now funding it.
So maybe the $400,000 capital fund line item in the road
Okay.
fund. Is
That's
that
perfect.
accurate?
The whole
Yeah.
idea is that it comes off the surplus, it's not.
Right, no, you got that, that's, we're just talking about the name of the fund.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. So let's call it what she said. And you, at the end, based on the.
The engineering study data provided,
Okay,
and then just in your motion it says motion to amend the ordinance, second line says reducing the road improvement fund. I
So
just
it's-
added capital fund, but
that's that. Okay,
that's it.
okay. All right, any other? Everybody good? Okay, Cliff July, so you call it.
Supervisor
Oh, okay, who made the original motion? Okay, trustee Sweeney, will you just
So
amend it?
I motion to approve, amend as noted by trustee McKenzie.
Okay, who seconded it?
That's second.
All right, great.
I second the amended.
Perfect. Clerk July, so you call the amendment?
Supervisor Moretti?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yep.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, now, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 28, 2019 board meeting.
Motion to approve minutes of May 28, 2019 board meeting.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, any changes, corrections, additions, deletions, trustee Sweeney, I will recognize.
Thank you. Under board, under page 5, official reports, the last paragraph, I recommend that we strike the last 3 sentences after trustee Sweeney stated that trustees put a lot of time and effort in the budget evaluation process. And, to amend, let me clarify that, to amend the next 2 sentences to strike those and keep the trustees are representing the taxpayers and looking out for their interest.
I'm sorry, but your amendment is trustees, you're okay with they put a lot of time and effort in the budget evaluation process, but you want to strike that it is not easy to navigate township government since it is at risk to shut down. You want to take that out?
In the next sentence?
She commented that the Maine Township employees have a wonderful benefit plan. You want to take that out?
Yes, because I had some specific comments, but if
Okay.
it gets too wordy, then we've talked about keeping it where we refer to
All
the,
right. And the trustees are representing taxpayers looking out for their interests and want to keep in. Right?
please.
Okay, so that's your amendment. Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
All right, having a motion and a second to that amendment, are there any other amendments? Okay, hearing none, Clerk Jelimes, can you call the roll on the amendment?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Okay, and now we come to public participation. Let's see.
Doreen Prorak. I live in Park Ridge, and I've been employed at Maine Township for the past 10 years. As part of my duties, I attend all regular board meetings, special board meetings, and public hearings. Upon reading this month's board meeting agenda, I immediately made the decision to publicly state my opinion with respect to the second item listed in paragraph 10. I am truly stunned at the possibility of having only voting members sit at the dais. The non-voting board members are also elected officials who have sat there for the last 14 to 18 years. They present their monthly reports there, execute ordinances and resolutions, ask and answer questions of fellow board members, and answer questions from the audience. As elected officials, all of you deserve the privilege and honor of sitting together as a board. Each of you have your own perspective and expertise to share with the rest of the board, and working together as a whole unit clearly conveys a strong message. Dividing the board between voting and non-voting members does nothing more than demonstrate conflicts among yourselves. Discussions and disagreements are to be expected. You all don't have to agree with each other on township matters. However, it should be paramount to have mutual respect for each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Tony Bresnik, Park Ridge. Good evening. I just wanted to take time out of my busy schedule to come here and commend Laura Morass for her outstanding dedication and duty here and the job that she's doing. I think it's important that the board members, I would encourage them to support her, because if she does good, the board does good, and the township, as a result, the community does better. I also wanted to thank Susan Fry for the tax assessment. My neighbors and I are very appreciative of it. And I also think that give the people that deserve raises a raise, because it's not getting any cheaper. So they need the money, and a small increase is not that big of a deal.
Thank you, Tony. Oh, did you identify yourself and everything?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Don?
My name is Dawn Heyman, and I work for the Highway Department. I was in attendance at the budget workshop meeting, and it was most gratifying to have the entire board unanimously approve our budget for the new fiscal year. Ted Ward, our engineer, put together a summary report on the responsibilities of the Highway Department, and I think the presentation gave the board a much better perspective on how much time, work, and money is involved with maintaining the unincorporated area of Maine Township. The exchange between the board and the highway department was conducted in a most professional manner, and even when trustee Claire McKenzie suggested a reduction in the dollar amount of the road improvement fund, she offered a very workable compromise dollar amount of $195,000.
150, sorry.
Pardon me?
150,000.
150?
Yeah, you gotta say 45,000, but that's okay, we didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, I take it, no, I take it. Okay. 155. Which will adequately fund our annual projects. Thank you to the entire board for your support. Another very positive experience for me at this meeting was my exchange with trustee David Carabota when I voiced my concern about the renewal of the existing employee health care program. Trustee Carabota was very kind, understanding, and allowed me to voice all of my concerns without interruption. He reassured me that he would take everything under consideration before making his decision. And it turns out trustee Carabota is a man of his word and voted along with the other board members to continue the grandfathered health insurance plan. I again thank the entire board for their unanimous vote. At this time, I would like to switch from speaking as an employee to speaking out as a resident and voter who fully supports Maine Township, but has some real concerns over the recent actions of the board. I am taking this opportunity to speak out one time only and share my opinions and perspective with you. My one and only goal is to have you listen to an opinion that may be different from yours. Please listen to what I say, digest my words, and consider my words for whatever they're worth to you. There have been more than one meeting when trustees stated that they are advocates for the voters who put them in office to cut spending and taxes. This is a noble goal. But on the flip side, I don't think any of us would want to vote for a candidate who openly disclosed that they wanted to tax us to the max and spend our money freely and without consequence, even though unfortunately a lot of times that happens. So I decided to do a quick analysis of what I pay in taxes and where exactly my money goes. I've created a little chart for illustration purposes. The percentages I used come straight off my property tax bill and indicate where my tax dollars go and what percentage each of the 4 categories listed on my property bill, tax bill receive. And if you don't mind just passing these down. I like the insurance, I'm sorry. And I don't really have a big one. But basically what I did, and anybody can do this, just find your tax bill, and the first installment shows the percentages of how your tax money is given out. So basically, what I did is I took, for each and every dollar that I pay in taxes, what is the percentage of who gets what and what is it for? So, the largest percentage of tax was 67%, and that was for school districts. So that means out of $1, 67 cents goes to the school district. So that's a big hit. The next one was 14%, and that goes to municipalities and Maine Township. The breakdown for the municipality where I live was 11%. So that means 11 of those 14 pennies go to my village. And then the rest was for Maine Township. 2 pennies go to Town Hall and GA. 1 penny goes to Road District. The next category was miscellaneous. That was 12%. And that went to North Shore mosquito abatement, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation of Chicago and Glenview Park District. And the last category, the last 7 cents, went to Cook County. So this means roughly, if it cost me $4,000 for property taxes, I'm paying $40, approximately $40 for the whole year towards road district. And then I'm paying approximately $80 to Maine Township. So this is $120. And so I just hope that puts things a little bit in perspective because, you know, to me, I wish somebody would go here, so the first one, the 67 cent, and see, is our education, and this is but I mean, are the kids who are graduating, are they the brightest? Are these the best programs? What's going on here? I think everybody should be scrutinized. But really, Maine Township is a very small amount of the property taxes we pay. So, I'm always cautious when politicians claim that their actions are saving me millions of dollars. And a lot of politicians make this claim. And so I figured out, based on the amount of taxes I'm currently paying to Maine Township, if I stop paying taxes today, immediately, it would take approximately 825 years to reach that $1 million mark. So again, you know, when people throw out numbers like that, you really have to put them in perspective. Is keeping an eye on taxes a good thing? Of course it is. But let's not act that making drastic cuts in Maine Township is really what's gonna help put more money in our pocket. You know, for me it's about like $120, and I have to tell you, I think that $120 is my favorite amount of taxes I pay anywhere. I feel like the township is such a wonderful place, not just for me, and you know, for seniors, for people really in need, the clerk's department, the assessors, so many people are helped here. I'm more than willing to give what I give to Maine Township. Don't tell anybody, but I'd probably give double. I mean, it really, like I said,
30-second
they do, oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They do a fantastic job. The one thing I wanted to mention though is that the one thing that really concerns me, and I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but I'm very upset with what's going on with our assessor and this IMRF issue. All of the departments at Maine Township are 5-star. But if you had to vote which one was the best department in Maine Township, there is no doubt it's the assessor's office. The amount of people they handle, the assessor, Susan Wayman-Crowd, she is in the front line with her crew. Her chief deputy assessor, Liz Coy, you know, Susan Wayman-Crowd and Liz Coy, they are the toughest tag team you've ever seen. They could go to the WWE. I mean, honestly, they are fantastic. They help so many people. Even people call the highway department, wanting their number, wanting to get in touch with them. So please don't underestimate how much they really do. And, excuse me, I'm a little dry. I just wanted to say, as far as this issue with Assessor Marlon Clark and the IMRF, I mean, you know, from what I understand, and I have done, I'm a nerdy type of person, I realize.
Dawn, I have to, you're sort of over the...
Oh, you're cutting me off? Can I finish my thought?
Yeah, but I don't want to get into too much into the appeal and the different...
I'm not, I'm just saying,
Okay.
to me, if you can just let the appropriate agencies make the decisions, you know, it'll all play out. And, I mean, bottom line is, if voters don't think a elected official should get IMRF, they'll vote them out. You know, and IMRF, the way it works, if you offer IMRF, everybody is offered IMRF. Everybody is
Definitely have to give you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I was just going by whatever.
No, it's at 7 minutes though, so I have to.
Okay. My last thing I wanted to say is, when, at the last meeting, when Supervisor Laura Morass was stripped of her IMRF agent status, I just about cried.
Carrie Lynn, I'm going to ask as the attorney to stop this inappropriate public participation.
Why is it inappropriate?
This is not appropriate.
Well, the only problem is it's not fair to the other people that Laura Morass to stop speaking within the time period. You said it 3 times, but you're not doing it.
I mean, I don't know.
So when other people have been stopped, I mean, unless we give open time to everybody.
No, so, Joanne.
I'll sit here, but it's not fair.
I don't want to have another 20-minute conversation about this.
And Supervisor Morass, I would like you to please ask Trustee Jones to stop harassing me up here.
Okay, so guys, we're adults. I don't want to have a meeting like the last meeting. Nobody should talk to each other in terms of talking on the board table.
And she's continuing to talk.
Okay, we're not in grade school. Come on, guys. And Joanne, thank you. I have to, have the next person here is. Did you want to let her finish her sentence?
No, we're done. We're good.
All right.
We're good. We got it.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right. Yes. Gentleman in the front row.
Good evening, my name is Joe Patak, and I live in Island Lake, Illinois. I'm kind of a visitor here. I'm involved in a lot of issues, and one of the issues that's been circulating in my neck of the woods is the whole necessity of townships, and it's kind of been a controversial issue. And quite frankly, a lot of people in my area are very concerned about all Illinoisans moving out of our state, leading the nation, and people moving out simply because they can't afford to live here anymore, and they're being taxed out of their homes, especially senior citizens who are fixed incomes. And I just wanted to monitor what was going on here today to get some more appreciation of the whole function of the board here in the township. But I did hear a comment that I really did not like, and that is a small tax increase is not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal to a lot of people on fixed income who are making decisions as to what they do with their money so they can afford medication and so forth. So everything, it is a big deal to our state. And I just wanted to state that, and thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for visiting. Anybody else? All righty. Now, we are moving to a motion for approval of the general assistance expenditures.
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of May 31, 2019 and June 14, 2019 and general assistance checks number 52009 through check number 52059 in the amount of $45,178.41.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Giovannis, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Morass?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes. Can you please pass down?
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabotto?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, I'd ask for a motion for approval of the road district expenditures.
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of May 31st, 2019 and June 14th, 2019 in road district checks number 2009-24 through check number 2009-65 in the amount of $285,974.92.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Okay, trustee Carabao.
There's one check that trustee Sweeney brought up and made part of the record that that I would approve payment of, subject to receiving an itemized bill to support it. I'm not saying to hold up the payment, but we should have itemization for the file. I don't recall what the check number was, but
20952.
20952
Space Go or?
From Spaceco.
from Space Code, because the amount was, what was it? It was about,
There were several checks, and I think in the future, we just need more delineation.
one was like $3,900 and all that, but there's no itemization.
Right,
Okay, and how much per hour, so how many people work?
Right.
Right.
How much they're paid?
just like we do legal fees, it should represent
Okay,
the
well,
same.
I can provide that next meeting.
That'd be fine.
Okay,
That'd be
thank you.
fine. So with that, I would go no further discussion.
So it's not actually an amendment, that's, right.
I'll just remember to provide
You're
that.
passing it as is, so it's, you're just.
Yeah, with that amendment, that we're gonna get that itemized billing for the file, so for our records,
Okay.
from the company.
Okay.
But you're approving the amount?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think I can take a roll call on that.
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabao?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
With respect to next line item, I'm going to make a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures with the exception of 56929, which is legal fees from Bond Dixon and Conway, and change that for the moment to $2,121.26, with the other portion to be laid on the table with the appropriate documentation that I requested. And Mary went out of town, so I haven't had a chance to get it.
Can you say that again?
Okay, sure. So, my motion is to approve payroll for pay dates of May 31st and June 14th in general town fund checks 56887 through 56970, with the exception of to take out $1,887 from check number 56929 to postpone it to the next board meeting, pending documentation that I had requested from Mary Dixon to support those fees, as trustee Carabota spoke about in the road district. And she went out of town. So, not that I don't want to pay it, it's just, I think, I wanted some more
Did
check.
you not give a response to your email?
Just a paragraph on it, not to the 1 through 6.
I didn't get the correspondence.
Right, there was correspondence to the board that I didn't get, and neither did trustee Jones.
Conversations that we had
Right.
that were not included in.
So so I just wanted those things to be,
Yeah, but I think the number.
and you seconded, I'm sorry, the number was 1,000. Right.
188.
You did.
7 from 4773.
Right, and that makes $2,121.
I got two, maybe I just added it.
I don't
I'm going to
understand.
check the number.
So I have a question.
Sure.
about the withholding.
Yeah, trustee McKenzie.
Are you saying that you're questioning whether or not the fees or the services were rendered?
No.
No.
No, I just wanted an explanation that she had correspondence for the town, for the board. And I just wanted to get copies of the correspondence, which I'm happy to send to the email. I thought she did, but, because she sent the reply to everybody. And I wanted also, which I was gonna bring up later, but there's portions that are after May 28th, which is after the engagement agreement. I don't have any problem. You guys are gonna, I'm assuming, change the engagement agreement to include circuit court, because right now it only includes in front of the IMR. So, but for this, it's just to postpone it to the next board meeting, because I'm assuming we have a new agreement.
Well, we already have a new agreement. I mean, it's the
Oh, I
same,
haven't
it's the
seen
same IMRF issue. It's It's the same.
But now it's in
Susan
circuit.
Fry.
It's carried on further, but it's the
Well,
same.
no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna recognize myself, because I made the motion. But if I do an engagement and a contract with a defendant or criminal client, it's for that case, it's not for the appeal of that case. So this was an appeal in front of IMRF, that's what the engagement agreement says. You were very good, it was an excellent, wrote it, and it literally says that. So I'm just going off what it says, which is subject of agreement. BDC is hereby retained to represent the client's interest in an appeal pending before IMRF. For such purposes, BDC will assume the following duties, including but not limited to reviewing client info, assisting as needed in the preparation of documents for a pending appeal before the IMRF, and representing the client's interest at a hearing before the IMRF. Those things have all concluded. I'm not going to have any problem, with, I'm assuming that you guys want to do it legally and correctly in the circuit court, because that's where it's now, right?
Okay, but that just happened.
You're talking about the.
I know, but there's
appeal was
items
filed
that
by
I'm allowed to
Fry, is
question.
that correct?
I'm talking about items on Mary Dixon bill.
Actually, there's the appeals.
Talking
What
to a
date are
report.
you talking about? Because the appeal
Sure.
just got filed on Friday.
Then it's-
No,
Right,
I'm
we're talking
talking about the
bill.
final, this is the final opinion on May 17th, right? And then she came in.
That doesn't end the
Well,
representation.
it does, yeah, actually, because that's what the engagement.
Just because there was a ruling on that date doesn't mean there's not a
So you guys, if you have a client, you automatically represent them at the next level?
No, but that's not what we just talked about.
We're not talking about.
That's not what we're talking
No,
about.
but that's what I'm talking about. So I'm
We're not
going
talking
to.
about an automatic representation. She's still representing us
Where?
on, where?
Right.
The same place. She's
Where,
been-
in IMRF or in the
Yes,
circuit?
yes, those things are for IMRF. They're not for the appellate.
Well, one of them,
case.
okay, hang on. One of them is to speak to the press.
So why is that appeal? That's not.
It's not, that's
It's
part of my
not.
issue. I
No.
didn't know how that was.
You're not listening.
That's exactly the point. I didn't know how that was the part, but I'm trying to look out for the taxpayers too. I'm the one that suggested you guys hire a lawyer. I don't have a problem with it. I think we should do it the right way. And I don't think that, part of the appeal was not advising past IMRF agents, current IMRF agents. That's my, and I had asked for correspondence that apparently 3 out of 5 of the board had that we don't have. So I don't think that's outrageous. There is, starting on May 24th, review correspondence from trustee Carabota regarding IMRF, review correspondence from IMRF regarding new resolution, review correspondence from trustees Carabota, Sweeney, and McKenzie ×2, regarding supervisor's notice of certificate to IMRF for assessor. I've already talked to Carrie Lynn about what the telephone conference, and obviously a telephone conference is a telephone conference, so. Then there was a draft letter to IMRF regarding rescinding. I'm assuming that's the letter sent out by trustee McKenzie. So that one I think, but she hasn't, when she says it, I'm fine.
But it was on Claire's law firms.
Right, it was- right,
She was
so-
bound to inflict.
Right,
what
so
does
it's a
that
little,
matter there?
well, because it
Well,
says
it's
she
not
did it.
from her.
So
She said
that's,
she
I'm just
did.
asking her, is that the
But
same letter?
it came from
Hang on,
Amy
hang on, I'm just, correspondence.
I would call the
I
vote.
would call the vote, please.
Call the vote.
I'm looking at an email.
Correspond-
Yeah, let's see that an
We're not
email.
done talking, Claire.
Okay, we're not going to do this, guys. I'm gonna finish. There's more correspondence, meeting, a telephone conference with a reporter, another telephone, and then news reports. So I thought those were legitimate questions.
And I'm satisfied with the response that you gave.
That's fine,
by
I'm not
email.
done,
She didn't
and that
respond.
is, I'm happy to call my question, and then you guys can call.
Can I ask you a question? Glenn?
I don't know, trustee, I'm happy to recommend.
I don't believe it's appropriate.
It's about her.
It's not appropriate. It's not a voting
Trustee
board, it's not a voting
McKenzie.
board
Okay,
member.
so, well,
It's
so,
not about her, it's about her position, and it's about the taxpayers' funds.
Right, which.
right, I'm trying to, okay, I just want to have a vote.
That's what I like, I like to call a vote, which I did already.
The bill, it's
I already
listed twice.
called the
It's
vote.
listed twice
Okay.
for the same amount.
Yeah, you can vote
Is
once,
that
right?
All of which is,
Yes.
all of which
No,
is
no, it's not.
inappropriate.
It's
All of
two
which is
times.
not proper, that's not proper.
Okay, I'm running the meeting, he called the question, I can't recognize you. I can't recognize her, so I can't recognize you. I mean, let's call this question, and then I'm sure you guys will have another motion. Clerk Jalamis.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we just clarify the motion here, because there, it has, the assessor pointed out, there are two different bills in the same amount on the bill payment list for bond.
Oh, I thought you said about this.
There was here two times, so if you look
One is
at
voided.
569,000, and then 56929.
Yeah, the one that's referenced is 56929.
Voided. For the same amount, I checked with Denise.
Well, but it's on the list for payment.
I know that was one of my amendments, that's what I had my hand up for.
Yeah, the
It was a
other,
mistake.
I got you, I thought that you guys voided it.
well, but it's still on the list for payment.
It's
so-
included in the total, so it should be, it should be.
Right,
deducted.
that total should be deducted.
That's all I was gonna bring up.
Thank you, Susan.
And,
And Claire, and, no, that's fine, but my issue's different.
so what is the total that you're saying should be paid of that amount? Because it didn't add up their number minus the amount you said to be.
$2,886.
$2,886.30.
Okay, so at least the motion's clarified and people can vote the way they want it.
Correct. Yeah, and the other portion is just postponed, that's my motion, not to not payments. Alright, so Dave called the question, Clerk Jalamis, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
No.
Trustee Carabota?
No.
Trustee Sweeney?
No.
Alright, now I'm assuming one of you has a motion. Or you want to pay them?
First, I want to, if I can have the floor, Supervisor Morales.
Yes, certainly, I will recognize you, Trustee McKenzie.
There is a check listed, number 56900, in the amount of $4,773.30. That check was actually voided, and I reviewed the voided check, and I also confirmed that it was voided. The amount of $4,773.30 is incorrectly included in the total that has been submitted for payment, and the total for payment should be reduced by that amount to the revised amount of $345,374.52.
Okay. But you're not saying that the bill for Bond Dixon and Associates is still $4,773. It's just under a different number.
That check was voided, and there was a replacement check that I think you were trying to motion to reduce.
Right.
And so
And
I
so
made
that is the
motion.
right amount, because I'm looking at her invoice. I said it is the right amount, right?
But you need to
4,000.
reword the motion on the top page, is what she's saying. So it's,
I don't know.
I'm
She's
making
making
a new motion to approve the payroll and payment dates of May 31st, 2019, and June 14th, 2019, and general town fund checks, number 56887 through 56970, except for the voided check 56900, in the total amount of $345,374.52.
Second.
All right, now, having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Trustee
I
Jones.
just want to point out on this bill, on May 28th, there says draft letter to IRA regarding rescinding price, no, excuse me, 529, correspondence to and from trustee Sweeney, McKenzie, and Carabota regarding IRA. Certification, news, information, meeting, video, telephone conference with recorder. So, in other words, before that, 527 is what I wanted to say. Telephone conference with trustee Sweeney regarding news contact. So in other words, Trustee Sweeney contacted News Wire Points in Northwest Cook News, or whatever it's called, and then she created a news story and conferred with the attorney for $37. And then they had a correspondence subsequent to that, 2 days later, regarding the news and the video for $129.50. And then there was a telephone conference with the reporter the same day for another $37. And then there was review correspondence from Trustee McKenzie for news reports. So they created the news story, and then they needed counsel on how to handle the news stories, which cost $129. No, I'm sorry, it was more than $129. So I don't really think that that's in the best interest of taxpayers to pay for their publicists, basically.
Number one, that's a mischaracterization.
Okay, no, we're trying not to interrupt each other, so, were you finished?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Trustee Carabetta, I will recognize.
I think it's a mischaracterization, but I am it's a warm place in my heart when one of us is challenging a total amount of about $472. That's really a beautiful thing, but that's not a reason to hold up a bill. I didn't hold up the road and bridge bill. I just wanted further itemization and the bills being paid. And I think it's wholly proper to go ahead and pay this bill. Further inquiry can be made if that's wanted, but I really don't.
We made an inquiry.
I can't help but think that it's also just not a good faith action. It's not a proper thing to do. So,
Okay,
but
I'm
if we're going to
sorry.
question $472, that's when it comes on a Tuesday's bill.
Sarah,
That's a special moment.
Okay. Now, editorial comments aside, Trustee Jones, would you like to say
Well, the
something?
original motion that Supervisor Morass was not to withhold the bill, it was to defer the bill until we got the requested information that we asked for regarding this. Since even though this attorney and the firm was represented the board, 2 of the members of the board were excluded from all of these things. So we had no input, nor did we know this was going on. So that seems to be a huge conflict. So we reasonably asked for information regarding what this was about, and we did not receive it. And so I believe it's more than fair to defer this until we get those answers.
Okay, and so now we are Trustee McKenzie.
There was a email response to both you and Kimberly Jones from Mary Dixon on all of the various
It
questions.
was on number 7, I have.
She only
yeah.
answered one.
She only answered one question.
She answered
She
one.
responded to your inquiries on June 21st, 2019.
That's why I said I'm satisfied with her response.
She didn't.
Well, I thought we weren't going to interrupt each other, but.
Oh, I apologize, finish your statement, but it's just, I said it, I thought we
She
had.
made a response, June
Okay,
21st.
she did make a response about one of the entries.
I call the vote.
Okay.
I think I would add one more comment. I think
Well, he just called the vote, we can't. I apologize, you called the vote, I can't recognize you. Clerk Gilanis, can you call her?
Supervisor Morass, Trustee Jones, Trustee McKenzie,
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
yes.
Now, we're going to move along to old business, discussion and vote on an IMRF resolution, including resolution as to participation of Maine Township governing and non-governing elected officials in IMRF as proposed by trustees Carabona and Sue.
I would like to, before reading the resolution, make a motion to accept the resolution, and prior to that, to have Sean Conway in substitute for Mary Dixon to give us a brief overview of the IMRF as it stands.
Good evening, thank you for having me. Mary wanted to be here
Hang on,
tonight.
I'm sorry, Mr. Conway. You weren't on the agenda, so I had no idea you were speaking. Is this a motion, Susan?
I'm making a motion for the resolution I move to accept the resolution, and I'm going to read the resolution. But I think in fairness to taxpayers and for everybody to understand here what's going on with this, what's going on with the status of the IMRF resolution, that we need to bring us all up to speed.
Are you making a motion to have him talk? Because this wasn't an
No,
agenda.
I'm not making a motion, I'm just adding him.
I
We can have business that is old business, this is pertinent and germane to what we've been discussing, and has moved from status, but we have to preview this to understand what the purpose and what the resolution is. So I'm going to read the resolution after.
Okay, if you're not making a motion, have them talk, is somebody else doing it?
I am making a motion.
To have Mr. Conway present?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, that's not something we have to vote on. I think as a trustee, we have the ability,
No.
as a trustee,
It wasn't on the agenda.
New business, old
You
business.
originally just phrased it as I'm going to make a motion to do this and to have them talk, so I was just trying to clarify what you're
No,
trying to do. If you're making a motion to approve the resolution, and
Yes.
as part of the discussion, you want him to talk?
Yes.
That would be procedurally correct.
Okay.
But then make a motion, if
That's-
someone second it, so you don't need to read the resolution necessarily, but just, you make a motion.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution as, hold on a second, I want to read it because I've got to get it out. I just thought it made more sense to do it first. I had it in speak. I think I just had that, so, okay. And we call this 2019-6. Resolution as to participation of Maine Township governing and non-governing elected officials in IMRF. Whereas the Maine Township is a township duly organized and existent pursuant to Township Code 60 ILCS 51-1, and whereas Maine Township is a participating municipality in the IMRF fund, and whereas as recognized by IMRF, an appeal of IMRF eligibility of Assessor Susan Weil-Cry, IMRF Resolution 2017-2-13 required that the legislative body of units of government participating in IMRF recertify every 2 years that elected positions meet the applicable IMRF hourly standard, and whereas, as recognized by IMRF, in appeal of IMRF eligibility of Assessor Susan Weil-Cray, the township voted not to recertify the elected positions of supervisor, clerk, assessor, and highway commissioner as IMRF eligible, which legislative determination is expressed in Resolution 2017-7. Whereas, as determined by IMRF in appeal of IMRF eligibility of Assessor Susan Weil-Cray, the township's intentional legislative decision not to recertify its elected officials for eligibility in IMRF in the Township Resolution 2017-7 is required by IMRF Resolution 2017-2-13, rendered Assessor Susan Weil-Cray ineligible for participation in IMRF up to May 17, 2019, without consideration of any actual hours worked by Assessor Susan Weil-Cray. And whereas on May 17, 2019, IMRF approved Resolution 2019-05-09D, Perspective and Application, rescinding its Resolution 2017-02-13, along with the requirement that the legislative body of the unit of government participating in IMRF recertified every 2 years that elected positions meet the applicable IMRF hourly standard. And whereas IMRF Resolution 2019-05-09D vests the participating IMRF authorized agent alone with the power to certify that elected positions meet the applicable IMRF hourly standard. And whereas on May 23, 2019, the Assessor Susan Weil-Cray secured the required certification from the Maine Township's then authorized agent and submitted the certification to IMRF that the elected position of Township Assessor meets the applicable IMRF annual hourly standard. And whereas tender of this certification to IMRF was contrary to and ignored the August 2017 legislative determination of the Township Board relative to IMRF eligibility of elected positions, including that of assessor, and whereas the certification being in error was properly withdrawn on May 28, 2019 by the Township's duly appointed IMRF authorized agent, which withdrawal was prior to any IMRF determination as to eligibility of the assessor to secure IMRF benefits, and whereas there is no validation by the Township's IMRF authorized agent that the elected position of Township Assessor meets the applicable IMRF hourly standard on file with IMRF as expressly required by IMRF Resolution 2019-05-09, and whereas it is the Township's position that IMRF is not authorized to consider the grant of IMRF eligibility to the assessor, irrespective of consideration of actual hours worked, when the strict requirement of IMRF Resolution 2019-05-09D have not been met. Whereas the Township Board affirms the legislative determination made in Resolution 2017-7, the validity of which has been duly recognized by the IMRF, that the elected positions of Township Supervisor Clerk, Assessor, and Highway Commissioner do not meet the applicable hourly standards for eligibility of IMRF benefits. Now therefore be it resolved by the Maine Township Board of Trustees, Cook County as follows. Section 1, the recitals said above are incorporated herein and made a part of hereof. Section 2, that the elected positions of Township Supervisor, Clerk, and Assessor and Highway Commissioner continue to not meet the applicable IMRF hourly standard for eligibility for IMRF benefits as previously determined by the vote taken in consideration of Township Resolution 2017-7. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately on adoption. Section 4, all resolutions or parts thereof in conflict with the provisions of this resolution are, to the extent of such conflict, hereby repealed. Adopted on the date of 25th of June, 2019.
Second.
Okay, so now, I'm assuming as part of the discussion, you would like Mr. Conway.
Yes, I would like Mr. Conway to speak, please.
Mr. Conway.
Thank you, thank you. As you know, Mary Dixon with our firm has been representing the board in the administrative proceeding. She would have liked to have been here tonight. She just had a scheduling conflict. So I've been briefed on everything. I have a good understanding of what's happened to date. Just want to give you a nutshell of the procedure where the case is at. I'm not going to get into the details of the case. At this point, IMRF has made its determination in the administrative proceeding. That determination was adverse to the assessor. The assessor has since filed a complaint in circuit court. It's called administrative review. Essentially, it's an appeal of the finding of the agency, IMRF. And so typically what happens is the appeal is filed, the agency files what's called the administrative record. The assessor will have the opportunity to make her arguments in a brief. IMRF and all of the named defendants, including Maine Township, will have the opportunity to respond. Typically there's a reply, there's a hearing date, and then the circuit court will render its decision. So procedurally, that's where that case is at. In terms of the resolution tonight, it really has two components. The first is to reaffirm what the board determined back in 2017, that the elected positions are not eligible for IMRF based on the hourly requirement. So this resolution reaffirms that. Also, it recognizes that the most recent certification of the authorized agent has been withdrawn, and a new authorized agent has been appointed. So with that, if the board has any questions for me.
Right.
Yes.
So, are you representing or going to represent the board in circuit court or in IMRF?
We stand ready to represent the board in IMRF and or the circuit court. So we're ready to.
Well, they are two different things, right?
Correct.
One is prospective going forward,
Right.
and I don't think IMRF has the same opinion that the certification was.
No, IMRF has not passed on that.
Right,
So,
right. So does the board have any legal authority over IMRF? I'm asking you as our lawyer.
Does it have any legal authority in what way?
Does the board's resolution have any legal authority over IMRF?
Yeah, the legal counsel for IMRF has recognized that the board's resolution is a considerable factor that it will consider on whether or not the assessor is eligible for benefits in the most recent application.
But it was based on the certification requirement that is no longer a requirement.
No, the legal counsel has explained to us that they will be taking tonight's resolution into consideration.
Okay, well, I didn't get any correspondence. I got correspondence from, is there a date on that legal correspondence? Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it. We have the emails. I can forward those to
Thanks.
you. And also, just to To respond,
And also, that wasn't the board's determination, they just voted no on a recertification. That was what happened in August of 2017.
Right.
So the board ruled, IMRF ruled, they adopted the hearing officer's opinion that that was a legislative determination for purposes of that appeal, right?
Right.
And then they changed the recertification requirement, right?
Correct. Correct. And then that most recent certification, that's been withdrawn. So there,
Well, I
so
know
there
it was
is no
attempted to
certi-
be withdrawn. I don't know, according to the letters I've gotten, that were shared by Mary Dixon. Both Beth Janicki Clark and Vladimir Shaliga said, just saying it's withdrawn, does not do that.
Right, but that's not my understanding.
Do you have something, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Mary
we'll be
Dixon
in-
is answering our question, since Kim and I were not part of this conversation.
Right, and on that note, I do know Supervisor Moraski did ask for a number of correspondences and some answers to questions. On Friday, June 21st, I believe in the morning, Mary did respond to all of those questions and did provide you all.
I just got number
requested-
7 and correspondence, and that the news was wiretaps. Or actually, she called it wiretaps. It's wire points, but I think she called it wiretaps.
I do have that email, and all of the correspondences are attached.
Right, of IMR. So that's the full correspondence we're talking about?
Everything that you've asked
27
for.
pages?
Yeah, everything that you've asked for.
IMR.
Excuse me?
Okay, so what she had attached was 27 pages of correspondence between herself and IMR, or your firm. Is that the correspondence you're talking about?
Yeah, she responded to every document request that you sent to Mary, so.
No, she didn't give us the correspondence between herself advising and drafting a letter or whatever it was to trustee McKenzie to show her how to unseat the supervisor or agent. That wasn't included in the correspondence.
I'm gonna object.
Characterization.
Okay, so our only concern was that you had mentioned that there's some correspondence that
It's a lot of smoke
says,
and mirrors here.
no, I'm just asking, I was trying to get, can you email me whatever correspondence you're talking?
We will be happy to send you any correspondence you request, absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate that. And
Especially
you're
the
saying,
ones we were left out of.
Yeah.
all right, I'll recognize.
Absolutely.
Which you weren't.
Which
Okay, so we were, but that's not the issue right now. What I'm asking is, okay guys, stop. What I'm asking you, Mr. Conway, was you mentioned just now some additional correspondence. Okay.
And I will send you those too.
Okay.
Any correspondence we'll be happy to forward to you.
Okay. And you're saying that that additional correspondence says from IMR that Trustee McKenzie's withdrawal of the action of the previous IMRF agent, that they accepted that. That's what you're saying that correspondence says?
No, no.
Oh. Okay.
I believe your representation was that IMRF has made a determination that that withdrawal was ineffective. And what I'm saying is, we have not seen that correspondence from IMRF. IMRF has made no such determination. So.
I mean, different people have different, okay, I just want to, I think we're on the same page. So there's no additional correspondence from IMRF?
No, and whatever we get from IMRF, we will happily send to all members of the board.
And so, does this resolution, what is it seeking to do?
It reaffirms the determination in 2017. And it
But that was
also,
simply a no vote, that's what I'm asking, I don't understand.
right, the vote in 2017 was to certify elected positions. And the board voted not to certify. And so what this resolution is doing is it's reaffirming that legislative determination.
And rescinding the previous authorized agents.
I don't think the board is all matters, that's what I'm trying to.
No, it simply recognizes that the new authorized agent has withdrawn the certification, and it's reaffirming what the board determined in 2017.
Okay, So the letter that I saw, not to be a dead horse, but I'm going to because I don't understand this thing, actually said that, oh, it's in my office, that they were waiting from evidence that supported the current IMRF agent's determination of withdrawal, that Assessor Cry did not, that job did not require 20 hours a week. That's what I saw, that Mary Dixon had forwarded
Yes.
to myself and Kim. Is that what you're referring
Yeah,
to?
they're looking for the basis of
Right.
the withdrawal.
So is that resolution, is this evidence?
Absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
honestly asking this question.
Yeah, absolutely. The board, the IMRF board can consider this board's resolution tonight as a factor in determining whether.
As a factor?
As a factor.
Okay. Yeah, just like paragraph 5 says in the new resolution, right? Oh. Thank you for answering my questions. Anyone else? Okay, so, anybody else? Mr. Conway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Attorney Conway.
Anybody else have any discussion? All right, Clerk Janice, want to call the roll?
Supervisor Marassi?
No.
Trustee Jones? Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Oh, and Mr. Conway, I'm sorry, you said you would resend an email that has answers 1 through 6?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, now, new business. The Barton Marketing Group contract. And you all have that contract in your board packets. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adopt a general agreement and contract for professional services effective June 27th, 2019 between the town of Maine and Barton and Barton. And you all have the provisions of this contract, and the price has gone down to I'm sorry, $3,400. So that is a reduction that Dick and Barton, who is the owner, made from last year's of $3,541, which works out yearly. I was able to get them to save us $2,500 a year. Is there a second in that?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion?
I have some.
Trustee McKenzie.
On page 1, I have a question about what the definition is of the public information program. Because I don't think we've seen the reports from Barton and Barton for a long time. So I'm not privy to what is being done. I'm not saying you're not doing the services, I'm just saying I don't have any contact except for what I asked help with from you. So we used to get clippings, and I know that we asked to have
I
those.
thought you didn't want them.
I'm just gonna finish.
Oh, I apologize.
It's okay. We had asked for them to be emailed. I don't remember if it was going to be emailed by Geisha or somebody else, but that hasn't been happening.
Oh, no, that's totally my fault. At that meeting,
So I just
Trustee
realized-
Sweeney said to not do them. She didn't want it
didn't
done.
talk
I'll
about
go back and
email.
look at the minutes, but I misunderstood it then.
Okay, well, so when I look at this, and I have
So
absolutely.
you want emailed clippings of everything where Maine Township is mentioned?
Correct. Just like we used to get them here, but we couldn't, at least I couldn't read them because we were busy.
Maybe give us the past
And,
ones.
you know.
It's
it was
not
kind of-
Vicky, I think, does that, right?
Okay, well, yeah, we'll do it. to get.
Sure.
So I'm sorry if there was a misunderstanding. I would like to see, because that's their only connection to know what,
Well, I have had a talk with them, and they're supposed to do monthly reports, but there wasn't much last month other than helping you. I
so
think,
it was
with
just
your
1
budget.
month that we
It
didn't
was
get?
just that
I
1
feel
month
like
we
we
hadn't
haven't-
had any.
Okay, I feel like I haven't seen a report for months. I
No,
don't
they
know,
helped
maybe I-
Pete, they did a national night out, and we just did the mainly news. And I thought that was all in the report. Dick, Alex, didn't you guys do a report?
So when they send their monthly billing, they also have an itemized list of everything that they do, press releases.
Yes, I thought that was in the packet.
Photo ops, yeah.
If we could see them though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I don't think that's.
Exactly.
We haven't been getting that. We used to get it, but we haven't.
Yeah,
it's in our work
these
product.
last few months, I feel like I don't have any, I don't know, I mean, except for seeing the mainly news and my discussion with Alex or Dick, I don't know what they're doing, and I'm just saying it's a lot of money, and I think that as trustees, our fiduciary responsibility includes the connecting the dots.
Right.
So, I would like to know what the program, and, maybe it could be very simple by just providing us, the last couple months of those, and then what is the public information program, because I don't know what
I think
that
it says,
is.
the mainly news and press release. As they're doing an editorial, they did an editorial calendar, and Dana will be happy to send it to you. So they're going to, we have 2 premier events this summer, that would be the National Night Out. So part of what they're doing is putting press releases in all papers, including the Bugle, who does a nice spread on National Night Out. And then we've got the garage sale. So we started the garage sale committee, which is a fantastic committee for the garage sale that will be happening. What date is the garage sale, Rich?
September 21st.
Thank you, September 21st. And so then there will be another mainly news coming out in the fall. So everything's getting started on that one. So those, I think, would be 3 main things going on for.
Okay.
Plus then weekly, whatever you want. So basically it highlights any program that's coming.
But I think what you're asking for, I'll make sure when they send
Would
the
you
monthly
please?
bill.
Yeah, I thought they were getting it.
I'm sorry, I apologize for it, but Alex and Dick are really good about sending details
Right.
of exactly everything they do every month. I'll make
We'll
sure
send you the
it's-
list, thank you.
I'll make sure it's attached. every
Yeah.
month.
The old stuff too.
Can you send us the past
How
ones?
many would you like?
I don't remember when we stopped
I
getting
mean,
any,
you want 6 months, 4 months?
Yeah, 6
6
months.
months?
like 2019.
Sure.
And I'm sorry for, I was still in. Okay. So. So under the contractor services, and I don't know if this is like what you want me to do here, maybe like we can, this is the first time getting this in the packet was the first time that I saw this contract. And I have some questions and comments, and I don't know if it's best if we defer this for a month and do a month by month like we did last year, so that I can maybe write out my questions versus doing this here. What would you prefer?
So are you voting no? Do you not want to approve it?
I do want to approve it, I just would like to defer it so that I can get my questions answered, because I might have some changes to the contract.
Do you want to make any change? I'm confused. So you want to make changes as a board right now?
I would like to ask questions about some things and get answers.
Okay, so then you want to do, I'm just trying to get a sense, because it's
Yeah.
up June 27th.
I know,
We
last
didn't
year
do
we
one.
had-
Did we do one?
Yes, we
Last
did.
year? Okay. It doesn't matter to
It
me,
says in the
but,
contract that you can do month to month.
yeah, so it doesn't matter to me.
I think it would be more
But I think
efficient.
that's sort of micromanaging that you didn't want it to, was that this is the same contract but for less money. So,
And I'm very good with that.
Okay.
And thank you for negotiating that, I appreciate that.
So you want to make this, you want to table it? Is that the motion that you're
Yes.
trying to do? Okay, till the next board meeting?
But I would like to extend the current contract for a month so that we can, so I can submit my questions and get answers and so that.
Okay, so the current contract, just so we're aware, is more. So then we table it, that's okay, it's not that much more.
I mean, I can go through it now.
You want to do this month by month, you want to just pass this for this month?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so.
We have under old business for next month, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're going to amend it? The motion is amended now to pass this general agreement and contract that I'm holding, that I mentioned, but the price mentioned, until the board meeting that is going to be held on July 23rd. Okay. Is that right, Claire?
So
That's the amendment?
you're saying I'm amending your prior motion
Right.
to just table it, right?
Well, you want to sign it just for the month?
No. I thought we could extend the prior.
Oh, so you do want to extend the prior?
Sunday.
I'm a little confused.
So there's a motion to table this.
Month to month. on-
Just a motion to table this.
Okay.
Right.
That's the motion
Previous.
right now, the amended motion, right? To table. Okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. So, Clerk Jalamis, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask,
Yeah, I don't have any problem.
Trustee Jones,
Sure.
Trustee McKenzie,
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes.
But now you gotta make a companion motion. I don't have the old contract in front, or the current contract. I don't know, oh wait, I do know the amendment.
Here. It says when it was effective, right?
Yeah, it was effective,
June 27th.
right, it expires June 27th. So we passed it at the last general.
And we just say that we extend the current contract?
Yeah.
Well, we can make a motion to, but it requires to be extended by mutual agreement, so.
Is that,
We agree.
is that mutually agreed upon?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so, then I'll make a motion to extend the current contract, that was passed, that we've been doing month by month for the next board meeting, for the next month until July 23rd.
Yes.
Okay, is that a second?
Second.
Okay. With a motion and a second, can we call the roll?
Supervisor Marask.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes.
Okay. And now the next agenda item is a discussion and vote on having only voting board members sit on the dais. Okay. Trustee McKenzie, you wanted to address this?
Yes.
Okay.
Or is there a motion?
I'm asking. I'm not making it.
I am making a motion to have the voting board members, I haven't signed it, oh, sorry. The voting members, the clerk, and our township attorney sit on the dais as compared to what we have now, including the highway commissioner and the assessor.
Second.
I'm sorry. So, wait, what you had requested to be put on the agenda, please, was to have only voting board members sit on the dais.
Yeah, and I sent you an email.
Right, today, but I can't change an agenda on the phone or on an email. So, you're amending your item to focus, so I'm clear, to focus on the highway commissioner and the assessor. Correct?
I'm just saying that the highway commissioner and the assessor do not need to sit on the dais during our board meetings. They are not required to be here. They are not voting members, and they should not be participating in the discussions. And it has been disruptive in the past.
You're disruptive.
Okay, there's not gonna be any back and forth.
Exhibit A.
No, all right. So, is there a second?
Second.
Wait, okay. All right, now, we're open for discussion in an orderly fashion. So, first of all, I just want to point out that I'm really sort of stunned by the silliness of all of this. I really am. You know, there's big issues in the world, and sitting charts is not one. So I went back and I looked at that terrible meeting that I got an email that it was basically my fault for not controlling Assessor Cry and the highway commissioner who wasn't even part of the meeting on May 20th.
I think I left.
You did. You left literally at the end of the budget. And so, and everybody can go watch this and look. It's quite embarrassing for all of us. From 1 hour and 1 minute and 20 seconds to 1 hour and 5 minutes, the 3 board members to my right, other than Trustee Jones, although she participated towards the end of this, were literally yelling back and forth. Assessor Monica had literally nothing to do with that, screaming out without being recognized. And I appreciate all your guys' work tonight. So all of that occurred without Assessor Cry's intervention. She did speak out of turn at 1 minute 5, and I called everybody out of order, but everybody kept talking. So I frankly, you say that there's no reason to have them. I say we have a beautiful board table. Other townships don't have the luxury of having a board table that can sit everybody. I think during PROAC's public comment was well taken. I think this is silly, and that's what I have to say. And I think that's absolutely, whether it's all non-voting members or just the 2 of them. I don't know that I can have public comment in the middle. So, any further discussion? Trustee McKenzie.
I think that we can look to the General Assembly as a role model, and the General Assembly, why are you shaking your head? I'm not even finished.
Okay. Well, because
the controller, who is an elected official, does not sit on the dais, nor does the treasurer. So again, you can say it's silly, you can say you're stunned. It's just a policy change. It's just another procedure. We have talked about many procedures and policies in the last couple of months, and this is just another one in order to try to get a better sense of these meetings. As you mentioned, the last meeting was totally out of hand.
But that was not the assessors.
I'm not finished. And I'm not just looking at one meeting as the reason. We've had, okay, it's fine.
Well, you sent emails.
This is exactly the attitude that causes the problem, so whatever. I'm trying to give you reasons and you don't care, so
You
just
told me the reasons in a very
Call
nice
the question.
No, I have a comment, excuse me.
I called the question.
Call the question.
Okay, so we'll call the question.
I'll just make my comment during my vote.
Clerk Jalamis?
Supervisor
You
Marasco.
don't need any
no.
peanut gallery.
Trustee Jones.
No, this is the single most stupid thing I've ever heard of, and I've been on 2 elected boards. It is nothing more than these 3 trustees being spiteful and vindictive because the IMRF thing didn't go all their way.
No, wait,
And
excuse
this is
me,
the
we
way
won the
this is
IMRF thing, yeah.
Not
And
yet.
I'm going to object to this
Excuse me, you are
continuing.
interrupting me.
No, I am going to object to this, this is out of line.
It's spiteful.
Okay. Did you vote no?
It's an absolute no because it's stupid.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabao?
Yes.
Trustee Swing?
I vote yes. I think we're going to streamline meetings and be much more efficient and have better communication and get results therefore.
All right. We won't be having editorial comments. All right. Officials' reports. Trustee Sweeney?
I would just like to comment that, we've been through a lot of, we've had a lot of success, I think, in looking at what's happened over the past couple of months, but in particular the budget, and holding it from where it was last year in our expenses. And I thank Dana for the work that you've done with that, and Supervisor Marask to hold down expenses. And I think when you look at how the media's portrayed a lot of this, we've had so much success in looking at abating 1.2 million back to the taxpayers. So, you know, I hear comments at the board. We are an $8 million, almost $8 million operation, so it's not nothing to sneeze at, even if we're 2 cents on a dollar of your property tax bill. It's still things that should be streamlined, scrutinized, looked at, and we're trying to do the best job we can. I feel that I am, as a trustee, to look at holding down the line. We are concerned about all taxpayers, as well as the employees of the township. So I think in looking at the things that we have accomplished, and especially support being able to accommodate the grandfathered plan again this year in healthcare, but not necessarily looking at increasing expenses with raises at this point. I think it's just something we look at what the taxpayers and our neighbors next door to us are expecting us to do. So, but I would just like to say I went to the TAC and I attended the township officials of Cook County annual meeting, and appreciate the support and work that they're doing to educate us on what's going on in township government. So.
Trustee Garibay.
Hope has 2 beautiful parts. The first is a strong feeling of displeasure. The second is courage. That strong feeling of displeasure part is to be directed at the way things are when they are wrong. The second part of hope is courage, which is directed to see that they do not remain as they are. That's a quote from St. Augustine of Hippo, and it's something that I've kind of kept close to my heart as life goes on. You know, not a day goes by. You know, today I was just approached by someone that spoke to me. They were a resident of Riverside. They had a beautiful home in Riverside. They lived in Riverside for an awful long time. The taxes got to be too much, so they just sold their home in Riverside. And they're renting now in Countryside, deciding what they're going to do. It's got to stop. The way government justifies it is they don't call it taxes, they call it revenue. The way government justifies it is they want you to think selfishly. How much does it just impact me? When we abate back $1.25 million, it doesn't matter if I'm wealthy enough that it doesn't really affect me. It's $1.25 million where I grew up, okay? What happened though? We have our Niles Maine Library that just a few days ago decided to increase their budget by $1.14 million. Their budget went from $5.3 million in 2015, our Niles Maine Library, to $8.45 million 2 days ago. Okay, it's got to stop. And the way it's going to stop is this. The reason why Illinois residents, as I've said before, have not retaliated is because they couldn't sell their homes. You had mortgages out there, but you couldn't qualify for a mortgage, or people wouldn't buy it. Now you can get those mortgages. Now the homes can be sold, but they're sold short. People who have invested in Illinois, and I call it investment. When you buy a home for $1.5 million, that's not a home to kind of hang out in, okay? It's an investment into a community. They invest that, and they turn around and sell it. They could sell it for 1.1. They lose $400,000 in 4 years, plus all the taxes they're paying. Sorry, that's wrong. We shouldn't think about ourselves, because as the president of the Niles Maine Library Board loves to say, how many candy bars, Dave, is it really to you? It doesn't matter. What about my neighbors? What about these people that I'm not seeing anymore that are gone? There's a board member here that lost her best girlfriend that moved out of Park Ridge. My own paralegal moved from here 2 years ago and went to Indiana because of the taxes and the cost. And those costs are passed on to people that rent also. Do you think landlords pay it? Oh no. So we have to look at that big picture. And I'm so proud of our township because we've held those costs down. Not only that, we've done cuts. And there's been not one cut in service. The quality of service that's been provided is phenomenal. And that's why I also joined Susan and Claire, standing behind our employees. They're doing a fantastic job. But when you can do a fantastic job for a less amount of money, maybe we should think about that, okay? And that's all we're doing here. I also did attend at the William Tell Holiday Inn. They had the 7 p.m. dinner election and TOCC Conference of Officers and Program. And I was able to express that to a number of members there about how great a job we're doing. So although the Niles Maine Library Board greatly disappointed me, that's not on my watch. I don't have the power for that. This chart is fantastic. Why in the good Lord's dear name would 67 cents of every dollar that you pay in taxes go to a school district? That's 2 words, in-sane. And I'm pretty confident that if there were certain board members on that board, that wouldn't happen. And I'm also very proud that we're doing all that we're doing, and we're all the way over here. It's fantastic, I recognize that. But we also have to give messages to the residents that we're trying. We've got to say that we're right there in with them. We can't say, hey, look, $1.25 million, if that's your money. To generate $1.25 million, as I've said before, all those taxpayers have to generate at least 3 or 5 times that amount. So you take 1.25 times 3, it's real simple, it's $3.75 million. At a minimum, it has to be generated to be able to put that money in the bank, be able to set it aside and pay your taxes, let alone a lot more. I hear you. I hear you. And we're looking for that common ground. And when we get things like this helps us find that common ground. And don't ever think a day doesn't go by where I don't appreciate all that Maine Township does and the employees that we have here. But I am telling you, as I told you from the first time I sat here, got to look at the big picture. Go back and forth to Springfield all the time. We're under the gun. What we should do is stay below the radar and show people that we're trying, we're going to perform, and we're going to do it as efficiently as we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee McKenzie.
Other than working on all of the township issues, analyzing the issues and the alternative resolutions, I hope to contribute in the future to the betterment of the township government administration and to better run our meetings. And hopefully we will soon turn to strategizing what we can do with our township budget and especially our surplus to help our township residents, especially the residents of the unincorporated areas that we serve.
Trustee Jones.
Yes, I attended the Neighborhood Watch meeting, which was, as usual, very informative and important. I also attended the National Night Out meeting and obviously worked on some of the budgetary issues and issues facing the board. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Assessor Moylan Craig.
And I saw the board. Oh, thank you.
You may make a board report.
Okay. I wanted to say that from May 7th through June 7th, the assessor's office served 4,014 residents. The boardroom was constantly filled with residents, and some people even lined up outside at 7:30 in the morning for us to see them. I want to thank Doreen Prorak and Carol Langan for helping handle the crowds, which were immense. Actually, along with Supervisor Laura Morass, she kind of came in and helped a little bit and entertained them. We had 2 reach-out programs for appeals. That was on May 6th at the Park Ridge Library, and the other one was May 15th in our boardroom, which was filled to capacity. I really feel bad about not going to that 90-plus birthday party. This is like the first time I missed it, but it was just overwhelming in here, and I'm saddened that I couldn't attend. We have been contacted by the 2020 census to help them with the new construction program. We made a commitment to them to update the U.S. Census Bureau's residential address list for new construction in the quarter of March, well, actually in progress from March 1st, 2018, and expected to be completed by Census Day of April 1st, 2020. I think that this is going to be good for us to, know and determine the new construction in the area to help us a little bit with our levy too. So, looking forward to doing that. Our office continues to work on certificate of error for exemptions. We are at this point waiting to see when the county will actually start to file them. We haven't seen them progress this far yet, so we're a little bit nervous that the people have filed their certificate of errors will not see a revised tax bill. And that means that they'll have to pay the tax bill that is stated. We'll have to bring our files downtown for the certificate of error, but because we feel uncomfortable in mailing them, we cannot fax them, we cannot email them. So we actually bring them downtown ourselves. The tax bills are now available on the treasurer's site, and you will get a mailed one at the end of June, come out July 1st, and those are due August 1st as typical. Now you can pay on the treasurer's site, or you can go to Chase and you can pay your bill. I want to say one last thing. I am opting out of the health insurance, and it's going to save the township some change. And it would really be nice if they could use that money and give our employees a little bit of a raise. It's not really enough to cover it, but maybe just a little something, because I know that they worked hard. And as for this decision tonight, I'm really kind of taken back, but I guess I expected it. I know that this board, the governing board, has a certain attitude towards me, and I know the reasoning for it, but I'm really not going to put that out in public comment. So I hope that going forward, I still love the township and work for the township. A little disappointed here, but that's about the end of my speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is Highway Commissioner Kesmert?
Yeah, in the very near future, either the last day, well, either could be as early as Friday, we're going to receive a new sweeper, and it's part of the municipal conference where it's collectively negotiated, and the municipalities, the townships can avoid the bidding process and get the best cost for certain vehicles, including the sweeper. We're trading in the old one. We utilize it during the spring, summer, and fall, at least twice a week. And this will be a good added addition. Plus, within a month, we'll have an auction for anywhere from 10 to 12 pieces of equipment, including one that the snow blower could render $70,000 or more. So we may recuperate most of the cost of the sweeper through this auction. The first part of our road reconstruction program has been done already. LaRussa Construction won the bid, and they've finished their work about 10 or 12 days ago. When we do some work in the area in terms of curb work and driveway, and also drainage issues, we'll have the winning bidder start our road reconstruction for the area in Glenview. Because of the additional funds that were allocated in the road improvement fund, we're having a second bidding process that'll commence, or actually finish 2 days from now, June 27th at 9:30 in this room, to see what's the best price for a qualified bidder to do D Road from just north of Gulf Road through a couple of blocks south from Gulf to Emerson. So coincidentally, getting older means you're eligible for Medicare, and starting July 1st I'm taking Medicare, so that'll be a savings of approximately $1,500 a month, which can be used elsewhere in the budget, or as a taxpayer savings. One thing I'd like to comment on, I hate to be considered a disruptive force. I've done everything in my power to, even when I don't feel things are exactly the way I like it or want it, nor do I appreciate the rancor, I've bitten my tongue till it bled. And to be somehow deemed disruptive is counterintuitive. I couldn't be any more prone to avoid conflict. But that's people's opinion, that if I'm a victim of circumstances or disruptive, that's fine. In the future, I definitely will be here for bill pay and approval of road district funding. And if there's anything on the agenda that pertains to the highway department, I'll certainly be here. But there's really no reason for me to sit in the audience if the balance of the agenda has nothing to do with the road district. So look for a written report as opposed to a verbal one in the future. And if you have any questions about the written report, you could ask me during the meeting or whatever. But I don't. I'm not going to view it as some kind of punishment. It's just things have been so disruptive and dysfunctional. Maybe it's a blessing.
Clerk Jalamis.
Just have a brief comment I would like to make that in my 10 years serving in different capacities on this township board, I've never seen such a ridiculous display as the motion that passed this evening. Every person sitting at this board was elected by our constituents, and in my opinion, has a right to be heard and a right to sit at this very table. Every single person on this board, myself included, has spoken out of turn numerous times. It's not one person, it's not two persons. So why doesn't everybody take a look at themselves? Not to mention certain audience members that have done so on a regular basis. Susan, Wally, congratulations on not having to sit through these long and oftentimes pointless meetings anymore. I wish I could join you.
I'm going to make my report, first I'm going to talk about the good. And the good is, you can consider this whenever the board, because there seems to be a disagreement as to, wait, let me take, that's my copy. A disagreement as to whether we actually cut raises or cut the line, because Trustee Sweeney says one thing and Trustee McKenzie had requested this table that was sent to her by Dana Bergen, and this shows the analysis that Trustee McKenzie had requested, which was how much I saved in consolidating various functions and positions here without requesting any additional personnel from this board, and it is a total of $77,385. And so I certainly hope that Trustee McKenzie puts her words on, her actions where her words were, and that there will be in the future a request for an agenda item to amend the budget to allow for 2.5% cost of living for the employees that Trustee Carabota speaks so highly of, as does Trustee Sweeney and Trustee McKenzie. But I do think that actions speak a lot louder than praise when the actions are the opposite. So with that 77,000 and the 20,000 saved by Assessor Moylan Cry not taking health insurance, that total is $97,385. So the analysis that had originally been done by trustee Sweeney, which had $93,000 over, so now it's not over at all, it's under. And there's plenty of this, there would be no new cost to giving that line item, to amending that line item, so that they could have a 2.5%, because that cost as was calculated was approximately 73,000? 77. No, I thought the savings, the cost is, I have the savings as 77. The cost was 73. But now we're at a savings of 97, not counting trustee or highway commissioner Casper checks. So I certainly hope that those actions are in the future, since it's hopefully will come from this board. I've attended in this things that are good, 2 garage sale meetings that we've begun. The garage sale committee has gotten off to a roaring start and meeting once a month. Everybody who volunteers on that is working incredibly hard. I apologize, Pete, that I can't make the National Night Out because I have a standing appointment on Monday evenings. But the National Night Out will again be the first Tuesday in August. I don't know if Tony Bresniak is still here, but that first speaker was our, long ago, he worked very closely with Karen Lader, for whom the award is named, and was our unincorporated sheriff, and head of the, and helped run the National Night Out. So he has a very close tie for years to our township. He then became the chief of police for Schiller Park. With respect to the actions taken tonight, really can't say it better than Pete did. And what I had said previously, I think it's really mean-spirited. I hope those, everybody really should look to themselves. Look at not just one board meeting, look at several. And that's it. So I hope the audience can do better. I hope the board can do better. And I hope that everybody can keep it professional, but I don't think it's a good start by kicking off 2 of our long-standing and most important positions that were elected fairly and squarely by the people of this township and who do govern the unincorporated. And the fact that the assessor's office saw 4,000 residents and will do so again without complaint in August, saving our taxpayers thousands upon thousands of dollars, I think speaks volumes. That's all I have. So now, we're going to, I'm going to motion to go into closed session to approve the minutes of the closed session meeting from December 27th. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, I mean, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, trustee McKenzie.
Do we need to go into closed session?
Yes, this is content. Not,
Don't you have to say why we're going into closed session?
oh, what is the exemption?
What was it to review the?
I thought I said it, but I couldn't keep the number.
No, I mean, as long as she specifies it.
I did.
Their reason the day the meeting is at.
Right, the exemption is to review closed session minutes and approve them for content of the December 27th, it's the 6th month. Okay, and Clerk Giuliani, you need a roll call.
Supervisor Rash?
Yes.
Trustee Jones? Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabello?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Okay, what is the whole thing in a name?
Oh, so we do have to do motion to go back into closed session. Yes. Right. I mean, open session. Right.
Roll call for adjournment or?
No, who's present?
Oh, okay. We're out of closed session, here's the roll call.
Motion to reconvene.
Trustee Lam is here, Supervisor Moraz.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
I made the motion, Kim seconded. To reconvene. Yeah. She did. Trustee Jones.
Trustee McKenzie? Yes. Trustee Careboda?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Okay, now, motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
And there's no action, right?
No.
No,
We're not taking them out? No.
not yet.
Not really still.
Not yet.
We're just approving content.
I asked the same thing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.